Let's go.
I want to shout out everybody who's joined us today. Especially want to shout out Fabio. He's been in here rocking with us the whole time. If you guys have any questions, definitely write them down in the chat below. He did have one question, and he said that you said that Body is your favorite before. You've also mentioned the Staircase has a lot of meaning to you. Would you say that is your new favorite?
It kind of goes back to what I had said earlier. It's like they're all my favorite. You know what I mean? I think sometimes, well, I guess in regards to Body, I think for a long time that was my favorite song to play live, just because it just kind of bops so hard, and it's like it's fun to watch the audience kind of just like they'll be listening to the intro and they're like, yep, and then they'll get to the verse and they'll just start doing this, and then it gets to the chorus and they're all just kind of like, I'm like, yeah, I knew it. So I really liked playing that song live. And I'm Staircase is one of those songs that definitely means a lot to me because it's about, you know, mostly just being homesick, you know, like missing my family and like, you know, leaving Buffalo. It's kind of a pivotal time in my life, you know, and then, you know, being in LA for a few years and then just kind of being like, man, like, do I even like being here? You know what I mean? Like, this is such a wild existence. And, you know, there was something beautiful about just the simplicity of being in my hometown, you know, but I think it's also a trap. So I'm glad I'm not there.
No, I think all hometowns are a trap.
Oh yeah, nostalgia can be a trap.
I really have a song about that, so go figure.
Yeah. Couple questions. I think A. Kosanki. I might have fucked your name up, but let me know.
That's my guitar. That's my guitarist.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So you kind of answer this, I think, at some points. Which song are you most proud of?
What song am I most proud of? That's actually an extremely difficult question. I think. I'd probably say Wait, just because it was such a bitch to get it together. Like there were certain points where I was like, this song's just going to be weak and I'm going to have to just deal with it, you know? The first round of mastering, I sent it out with like this kind of weak mix. And then I got the master back and it was a weak master. And I was like, well, I guess I kind of did this to myself. So it was definitely not easy. And it was a challenge. And I think it came together amazing. So I think I'm really proud of that one.
Okay. Another one, Fabio. So will you be releasing more beats as you've done with The Bomb then?
Yeah. So The Bomb, that was actually just like a track that I released this past week, just as like a reel on Instagram. It's not even really like a song. It was just like something I was making on my Instagram live. And then I was like, oh wait, I gotta just like cut up the live and just finish the song real quick. And I put it out with a visual that I had on my phone for a bit. But like, I don't know. I think honestly, like I'm kind of just messing around with that for now. So, you know, I can't really say what I'm gonna do with that just yet.
Okay. And another one, which would you say is the hardest song to play?
Bike is definitely up there. I think Bike actually might be the hardest for a couple different reasons. It was like the chorus is basically one breath. And I think when I recorded it, like I sing it in parts, you know? So to get through that whole phrase is one breath. And I'm thinking about how I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do it live. Cause that's like, I would want to breathe like right in the middle of the phrase, but like it's the way it's recorded, you can't. So I'm going to have to probably just get better at singing, I guess. I'm not really sure. And then the guitar part and the bridge, I almost always play it wrong. So like after 6 months of practicing it, I still play it wrong to this day. So overall, that song it just kicks my ass every time.
We still got some time to the shows, you know, so you'll work it out.
Yeah, like before every show, I'm gonna have to just like warm up with that song. Be like, okay, if I can play this one, I can literally get through any of the others.
Everything else. Yep. Okay. From Joseph Hatan, in what ways was the crafting of this album different or better or worse than putting together your self-titled project?
My self-titled project, I have to say at this point, comparatively, I really wasn't trying at all. I I spent a lot of time just kind of like fucking around, honestly. Like I recorded all of the instruments like in about 9 hours. It was me playing drums, and then I had a live bassist at the time, and we did all the drums and bass in just a few hours, like really simple shit. And then did all the guitars pretty quick. And then so all the instrumentals were done in one session. Took them home, and took forever to finish the vocals, and then took forever to just get the mixes to a place where I could send them to the guy who was mastering them.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, hey, so these mixes are kind of trash. Maybe you should. And he gave me all of these like notes on like, it's like, they're not, I guess he didn't say they were trash, but he definitely had some notes. And he sent me like, if you did this differently with the drums, like across the entire record, it would probably make more sense. Like your vocals are really quiet. You could probably bring them up a little bit. Like just kind of gave me some overall like general advice. And it was also like the second record I'd ever mixed ever, so it was not really like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then halfway through the mixing process, I decided to rebuild my computer. I had like a desktop, and I had built it, and then I realized I didn't really have enough CPU to like mix a record. So I decided I was going to just gut it and update the CPU. And then I lost all my plugins. So I had to spend a whole bunch of money that I didn't have to rebuy the plugins that I needed to finish the record. So it was just some shit, and I kind of did it to myself. You know what I mean? I could have had it done a lot quicker, but I kind of just was fucking around, like I said. So that's the main difference, is that I didn't really have time to fuck around with this. Yeah.
Okay. What was the thought process behind placing Choked Out before Nostalgia in the track list? This is from Amelia.
That's a great question, because originally Nostalgia was called Choked Out. So the original version of Nostalgia, it's saved in my phone as Choked Out 1 or something like that. And then when I wrote the demo for what later became Choked Out, I used the same word, like the same phrase. I'm like, well, this song makes way more sense as being called Choked Out. And I guess I'll just call this other one Nostalgia, because that's the second word in the song. I'm really like bad at naming my songs. I don't ever have very like eloquent titles or anything. It's always just like, what's the main word in the chorus, or like, what's the first word in the first verse? And it's like, okay, well, that's going to be the song title. But yeah, it was, I think I just left it like that because it made sense. And I thought it would be a fun way to just like make it feel like an album,
Mm-hmm. No, I like that, because it kind of makes the audience have to like search for it. Mm-hmm. It's almost like like they're listening to it, waiting for the word, so they're like really listening, to the lyrics. And like, boom, there it is. I mean, it specifically happened to me listening to Golden. Like, I just remember I was like listening. I was like, "Ooh, where's Golden coming from? How's he gonna roll that in?" I was like, "Ooh." Mm-hmm. He's like, well, when he said the "when I can be Golden," like why wouldn't I change? I was like, "Ooh, that's dope." I like that.
That actually came from one of the later versions of the demo, because I never actually said Golden in the original song. And then when I rewrote it, however many times, eventually I wrote different lyrics, and so I'm like, okay, well, I gotta have these lyrics in this album version, and I gotta use this whole part. So, but that song was just called Golden because originally I was just trying to make a song that sounded like what golden hour feels like. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like if I could just make a song that just sounds like being on the beach at like sunset, like let me do that. But then I was like, okay, well then I think I can just write different lyrics that make it make sense. So yeah.
All right. One last question. What made you go with other versions of songs instead of more rock-based demos, like the one you mentioned yesterday of Beach Love? And that's from Fabio.
Right. I was on live yesterday, and I was talking a little bit about some of the demos that I made for this album. And Beach Love was one of those songs that originally it was a song I literally like woke up one morning and was just like, oops, gotta make a song. And I just like sat at my computer and kind of just made it. And all the words just kind of shot out of me. And I had like this little toy drum kit that I found at the thrift store. and I had put a bunch of like t-shirts and stuff over it to make it quiet. And I just recorded these like really quiet like drums, and then just kind of like made the rest of the demo around it. And it kind of had this like a very different feel from the album version, you know. Almost like a march, you know. It had this kind of like dun, 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 dun. Mm. And it's like, you know, that was fine, but it just kind of, I don't know, it didn't make me feel anything. It was kind of just like, okay, that's a song. So like I said, when I had the idea to combine Beach Love and Golden and make Beach Love more of a ballad, like, it made sense to just kind of like make that song a little bit more low key and a little deeper and a little more like, just give it a little bit more feeling, I guess. So when we recorded it, like that's my friend Jake playing the piano on that song. He's got like a little studio in his, the building he lives in. And they have like this slightly like out of tune piano in their foyer. That just kind of sits there, and we mic'd it up, and he just like, I wrote the chords, but he played them, and just, you know, we went through the whole song. And that was literally all I had. I only had him playing the song all the way through. And I didn't have any like other ideas of what I was going to do. I'm like, this is going to end up just being something at some point. And maybe I'll add drums, maybe I won't. But I ended up just kind of almost wanting it to be like an a cappella track with a piano beneath it.
Yeah.
So I kind of, I started with just stacking a bunch of vocals. And so everything else kind of just like came in underneath it. You know, and then I met this guy, Emmanuel, who is like a session cellist. And, you know, he was like, yo, like if you ever need anything, like strings on any of your songs or anything, like just don't be afraid to hit me up, you know? And at some point I was like, actually, I should hit him up, because that could be like a really wild thing to have on this record. It's just like a whole like string arrangement, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hit him up and I sent him the song. I sent him that song, and I sent him Staircase. And yeah, he was like, cool. And so he sent me a whole bunch of stuff, and I ended up chopping it up and making my own parts out of it. But yeah, I think that really kind of made that song, like the strings and all that, like it kind of just evolved in front of me, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's the kind of beautiful thing about not having a lot of hard and set expectations going into making a project, you know, because if you put yourself in a box right away, you know, you don't really open yourself up to having other ideas and being inspired during the process, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's like where I get hung up with sometimes with making demos. It's like I'll make a demo and I'll just like produce the fuck out of the demo, and then I'll try to re-record it with like better gear or something, and then it doesn't quite have the same.
Well, the way you did Nostalgia is like, you know, keeping all of that, right? You know, like the song.
Yeah, that song was literally just like one take in a verse.
I wrote down one take, jam, reverb in the room, one mic away from the singer. Like it sounds like you're playing over here, like just getting your shit off. It almost feels like a freestyle. Like you just wrote the song in your head and was like, I'm gonna get my shit off real quick.
That song
put
is
your drink down.
Yeah. That song is the freestyle. I actually.
Oh, see, I can hear it. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that song was definitely a freestyle, because I remember I started playing that progression and I started singing those words, and I got to a certain point when I was literally just saying shit. I guess it was probably just what I was feeling, and I was like, oh, I got to record this. So that's when I pushed record on my phone and freestyled like almost the entire song. Yeah. I think I ended up writing one little section after. And so when I recorded it for real for the album, it was just like, I did it in like 2 takes, and I just wanted it to be kind of loose. And, you know, I think I did a little bit of, you know, processing. I added like some chorus, and I added some reverb and stuff like that to give it a little bit of a vibe to fit with the rest of the album, because it was really dry and kind of like harsh and echoey before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just gave it a little bit of like, I have like a chorus plugin that is based on the chorus for like a synthesizer that I use. And I just gave it this like nice little, I don't know, the word is vibe. I don't want to use the word vibe, but it's just gave it like a nice vibe. So
yeah, definitely.
I've been trying to find a better word than vibe, because everybody's just like, it's good vibes, man. It's like, yeah, but there's gotta be more. There's gotta be something more than just vibes, you know?
All right, man. That's such a perfect word.
It is a perfect word. I could just say vibration, maybe. I don't know. It's like a hippie or something.